people, hello again. It's me, back once more for a go at this vlog thing. I really don't like that word, vlog. Ugly, if you ask me. Then again, nobody did actually ask me, so I reckon we're stuck with it. Blog, blogger, video blog, vlog, vlogger. Oh well, it could be worse. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're back and we're pulling no punches. That's what it's all about, people. Life's too short to pull your punches, kids, so don't. Use all your energy and remember the 2 golden rules. Start from your hips and remember to follow through. All right, now today I want to consider something which is a bit of a global issue. Yes, yes. I'm sure that most of you could figure out immediately what I'm on about. Yes, the elections in the USA. A global event, really. Okay, so the elections obviously only take place in the USA, but the implications of how the citizens of the USA pick, the repercussions of the party and leader that they choose to place in the White House, that's where we can expect to see global shockwaves. Maybe shockwaves is a tad extreme, maybe not. But I think that we all recognize that, extreme or not, there is a global interest in elections in the USA in a way which is rarely seen with other countries. Okay, now some people have been banging on for years about the fact that we should be paying more attention to elections held in places like India, the world's largest democracy, although I'm not sure how democratic ideals fit together with the caste system. Never mind, eh? Or these people suggest that we should be concentrating on the election results in places like Brazil. Fine. But the USA, like it or not, is more important globally than Brazil or India. I'm not saying that this is justified, any more than I'm saying that it's not justified. That's just the way things are, at the moment at least. Whether it's justifiable or not, globally, we're all thinking about what the elections in the USA hold in store for the rest of us. Right, to business. Now, what we have to consider, once again, is the history of the thing. If we take a quick look at the relationship between, say, the UK and the USA, then we're obviously talking about a different kettle of fish. Whether people buy the idea of a special relationship between these two nations or not is neither here nor there. The fact is that a bond can be seen to exist between those two countries. It's a bond of language for one and of history for another. And it means that the relationship between them is always going to be at a different level. That much stands to reason, obviously. But what about us here in Hungary? Well, like I said, one of the elements we need to consider pretty much any time we consider anything at all is the element of history. Hungary, as I'm sure you're all aware, only regained its independence, was only freed from the shackles of the USSR 30 years ago. 30 years. That's not a very long time, is it? No, that's recent. We've only recently managed to find our way back to the right path. The Hungary that we would have witnessed at the start of the 20th century is one thing, but a lot of the rest of the 20th century seemed to be little else than people queuing up to shit all over us. Even now, today, we're still fighting communists, even if they've realized that they have to call themselves by different names. So, for that reason, in fact, for many reasons, a lot of people in Hungary are going to be watching this election closely. Okay, and what do we want to happen? Which result would put a smile on our faces? Well, we've experienced both sides of the American political spectrum, obviously, and the impression which remains is that the Democrats don't appreciate the idea of Hungary having a national government. A government that has decided that Hungary's interests supersede all others. When Bill Clinton's wife got the bit between her teeth, she seemed to dream of nothing other than repeatedly cracking the Hungarians in the nuts, time and time again. The fact that we elected a government which sought to serve Hungary rather than anyone else really got up her nose. So, as the situation is now, we might well expect a similar reaction from the US if the Democrats get in. They don't like Hungary with a conservative government. That much is obvious. Now, I do think that we need to make a distinction between Republicans pre- and post-Trump. Pre-Trump, there wasn't a lot to differentiate in some areas of policy between Democrats and Republicans. With Trump, however, things have changed a fair bit. Previously, both Democrats and Republicans were very supportive of the idea of wandering about the globe, interfering in everyone's business. That seems to have changed with the introduction of Trump into the American political system. He doesn't seem to have the same desire to interfere. Now, it's obvious to all and sundry that every powerful government will seek to influence that which it finds around it. Fine. I don't think that we'd expect anything else. But if we consider the actions of the US State Department in relation to Hungary in recent years, then a few obvious points do tend to stick out like sore thumbs. When John Kerry was the head of the State Department, then there was no US ambassador to Hungary. Make of that what you will. What we got was a chargé d'affaires, a representative of the US in Hungary, but, well, it feels like a slap in the face, doesn't it? Maybe I'm just being oversensitive. Anyway, the chargé d'affaires was, irrespective of the fact that he wasn't ambassador, the most senior representative of the US government in a foreign sovereign state. And I, for one, expected his behavior to reach a certain level. It didn't. André Goodfriend spent a lot of his time seeking out those who sought to harm the democratically elected government. That's not very polite, is it? It was as though his orders were to ignore the conservative national government voted in by the majority and instead concentrate on communicating with the sheep on the sidelines, offering them a megaphone into which they could bleat their complaints. He had an agenda. His bosses had an agenda. A lot of that agenda was to spit in the faces of the Hungarian electorate. Not pleasant. All right. Now let's consider the present US ambassador to Hungary, David Cornstein. His behavior seems miles away from what we experienced with Clinton, Kerry, and their subordinates. This man praises what Hungary's government has achieved. This man is interviewed on opposition TV channels and states that he thinks the present Hungarian government is doing a great job. If nothing else, this man's manners are better. Now, as we're aware, David Cornstein is planning to leave about now. About the time of the US elections, he will pack his bags and, I don't know, take a well-earned rest, go on holiday, God knows. But to conclude, if we look at the relationship that we had when the Democrats were in power in the USA, and if we look at the relationship which has blossomed since Trump's Republicans have been in the White House, then we can see that the two periods are as different as chalk and cheese. No matter which party gets in, we can predict what we can expect from both. That's why I think a lot of Hungarians will be rooting for Trump. If the Democrats get in, we know what to expect. If the Republicans get in, we know what to expect. But if the Democrats get in, then we're going to have sore nuts for a long, long time to come. See you next time. Bye.